Everybody wants to be respected. That feeling of walking into a room and people noticing without you even having to say a word. That subtle shift where others lean in, pay attention, and instinctively treat you like you matter. But if you look closely, most people aren't chasing respect at all. They're chasing something else entirely. They're chasing likes on a screen. They're chasing the nod of approval from a stranger. They're chasing that temporary validation that feels good in the moment but disappears the second you step out of sight. You've seen it before. Maybe you've even caught yourself doing it. Laughing at a joke you didn't find funny just to keep the peace. Changing your opinion halfway through a conversation because you didn't want to stand out. Lowering your voice, shrinking your posture, and biting your tongue so no one feels uncomfortable. And at first, it seems harmless. What's the big deal about blending in, about avoiding tension, about keeping things smooth? But here's what really happens. Every time you do it, you give a little piece of yourself away. One compromise here, one silence there, one false smile too many. Until slowly, without even realizing it, you've traded your power for approval. The problem is approval fades. The same people who praise you today will forget you tomorrow. They'll move on, looking for the next person who bends, the next person who entertains, the next person who fits their mold. Approval is temporary. But respect? Respect lasts. Respect doesn't come from people-pleasing. Respect comes from self-possession. That quiet, unshakable energy that doesn't need validation because it already knows its worth. It's the calm certainty that says, I know who I am, and I don't need your permission to be it. The best part? You don't need to wait years for people to finally notice you. You don't need to climb a mountain or earn a title before you can stand in your own authority. Because there are real, proven behaviors, simple psychological habits, that change the way people see you almost instantly. And when you practice them, people can't help but respond differently. They lean in. They listen. They treat you with a kind of weight and seriousness they don't offer to everyone else. So stay with me, because what you're about to learn could shift the way every single person sees you from this moment forward. Before we get into the psychology, let me ask you for one quick thing. If you've ever caught yourself exhausted from trying to win people over, if you've ever felt that sting of being overlooked even though you bent backwards to please everyone, then this video is for you. And if you want more content that helps you step out of that cycle, stop chasing approval, and start walking with the kind of presence that makes people respect you instantly, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. It's a small gesture, but it tells me loud and clear that this is the kind of work worth creating for you. Think about it this way. Just like respect isn't about chasing approval, building this channel isn't about chasing empty numbers. It's about building a community of people who are ready to carry themselves differently. People who want to be taken seriously without begging for it. And when you support, when you engage, you're not just pressing a button, you're helping build that community. So, if you're ready to stop blending in and start standing out, lock in right now. Because what comes next isn't fluff, it isn't theory. It's practical, proven psychology that can flip the way people see you in a matter of seconds. Now let's dive in. Respect doesn't start with words. It begins the second you step into the room, long before you open your mouth. People are watching you even when you don't realize it, scanning you in fractions of a second, and their subconscious is already making decisions about you. They don't pause to think, do I respect this person? Their brain decides instantly based on the signals you're sending. And those signals aren't complicated. They're in your posture, your eye contact, the rhythm of your steps, the way you hold yourself when you enter. Think about the difference between someone who walks in rushed, hunched over, staring at the floor, versus someone who walks in steady, shoulders back, eyes forward. One disappears into the background, hoping not to be noticed. The other immediately shifts the atmosphere, even without speaking. The question is, which one are you? Do you walk into rooms as though you're apologizing for taking up space, or do you walk in like you already belong there? Because that choice alone shapes the way people treat you. The first rule is simple. Walk into every room with intention. No rushing. No fidgeting. No slouched shoulders. These tiny habits betray nervousness, and people can feel it. Instead, stand tall. Move with patience. Breathe into your presence. Lock eyes briefly with the people around you. Not staring them down, not posturing, just calmly acknowledging you exist and you're grounded where you are. You don't have to puff up your chest or fake arrogance. That's insecurity in disguise, and people can sense that too. What actually works is subtle. It's the quiet confidence of carrying yourself like you've been here before, like this space is not foreign to you, like you deserve to be here, because you do. And when you enter like that, something fascinating happens. People feel it. Without even realizing why, they pay closer attention. They shift slightly toward you. They sense they're in the presence of someone who isn't competing for attention, but naturally commands it. That's what respect feels like in its earliest form. That's presence. That's power. That's respect before a single word leaves your lips. One of the biggest traps smart people fall into is the urge to explain themselves. They want to be liked. They want to be understood. They want people to nod along and say, "Yes, I see why you did that." And so they start justifying, defending, adding details nobody asked for. They think they're helping people understand, but what they're really doing is giving away their power piece by piece. Every time you over-explain, you send an invisible message. You're saying, "I need you to agree with me in order to feel okay with myself." And the moment people sense that, something shifts. Your authority drops. Your words carry less weight. Instead of standing as someone who owns their choices, you come across as someone asking for permission to make them. Think about the strongest people you've ever observed. The leaders, the mentors, the ones who instantly hold a room. Do they ramble on and try to convince everyone why their choice makes sense? No. They say what they mean. They make their decision. And then they let that decision speak for itself. This doesn't mean being cold or dismissive. It doesn't mean ignoring others. What it means is you stop living as if your worth depends on someone else's approval. You don't need to defend why you said no to something. You don't need to justify your values. You don't need to prove that you're worthy of respect. People don't actually respect endless explanations. What they respect is clarity. They respect when you speak with decisiveness and then leave it there. They respect when your silence communicates more strength than any rushed words could. And that's the paradox. The less you explain, the more people lean in. The less you defend yourself, the more people assume you don't need defending. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is nothing at all. A pause. A quiet breath. The simple confidence of letting your choices stand on their own. That silence speaks volumes. It says, "I trust myself enough not to beg you to trust me too." And that is what makes people respect you. Here's the uncomfortable truth most people don't want to hear. You are teaching people how to treat you every single day. Every time you let something slide, every time you swallow disrespect, every time you laugh it off when someone crosses the line, you're sending a message. And that message is simple. It's okay. You can do it again. That's why boundaries matter so much. They're not about being cruel. They're not about shutting people out or being difficult. Boundaries are about protecting the things you can't get back once they're gone. Your time, your energy, your peace of mind. If you don't guard those, who will? Yet, so many people confuse boundaries with meanness. They think saying no is selfish. They think drawing a line will push people away. But here's the truth. People don't lose respect for you when you have boundaries. They lose respect for you when you don't. Because when you allow someone to cross you without consequence, you've told them your word doesn't mean much. You've told them your comfort, your needs, your values, they're negotiable. The irony is, when you respect yourself enough to draw a line, not everyone will clap for you. Some people will be upset. Some will call you difficult. And that's fine, because the people who matter, the ones who belong in your life, they won't just accept your boundaries, they'll respect you more for them. Think about it. Who do you trust more? The person who always says yes, even when it costs them, or the person who is clear about where they stand? The one who bends for everyone, or the one who stands firm when it matters? We instinctively respect those who respect themselves first. So don't confuse kindness with self-erasure. You can be compassionate and still say, "This is where I draw the line." You can be generous without being used. And you can love people deeply while refusing to let them walk over you. That's the heart of it. Boundaries don't push away respect. Boundaries create it. Because when you teach people how to treat you, the right people learn and the wrong people leave. And either way, you win. Most people walk into conversations with a performance running in their head. They're rehearsing lines before they even say hello. How can I sound smart? How can I prove my worth? How can I make sure they see me in a certain light? And in that scramble to impress, they miss the very thing that earns real respect. Because here's the secret. Respect doesn't come from showing off. It doesn't come from dominating the room or stacking clever words on top of each other. Respect comes from something much quieter, much simpler, and infinitely more rare. It comes from making the person in front of you feel seen. Think about the last time someone asked you a question and genuinely cared about your answer. No rush to interrupt. No glazed over eyes scanning for their turn to speak. They just listened. Really listened. You walked away from that moment feeling lighter, feeling important. And without realizing it, you respected them more, not because they said something brilliant, but because they gave you the gift of being heard. That's the irony most people miss. When you stop trying to impress, when you take the spotlight off yourself and place it on the person across from you, you actually become more impressive. Because it's rare. Most people are too busy waiting for their chance to jump in, to correct, to brag, to prove themselves. When you're the one who doesn't play that game, you stand out instantly. The truth is, people aren't craving your performance. They're craving understanding. And when you're the person who gives it to them, when you ask real questions, when you lean into curiosity, when you listen without scripting your next reply, they remember you. They feel drawn to you. Respect builds in those quiet spaces where someone feels valued, not talked over. They don't walk away thinking, wow, that person sounded so smart. They walk away thinking, wow, that person really got me. And that sticks. That kind of connection lingers long after the conversation ends. Not because you talked the loudest, not because you showed off, but because you made someone else feel understood. And in a world where everyone is shouting to be noticed, being the one who truly listens is the most powerful way to be respected. Respect is not really earned in the moments when everything is going well. Anyone can look confident when life is smooth, when everyone's agreeing with them, when the air in the room is light. Respect is earned in the cracks, in the moments you don't expect, when someone throws an insult your way, when a door slams shut in your face, when the plan you thought was solid suddenly crumbles. Those are the moments people are watching most closely. Because it's easy to be calm when the world is calm. It's easy to look composed when nothing is testing you. But when the pressure rises, when the insult stings, when you feel the heat of rejection or embarrassment, that's when your character shows. And the person who can stay grounded in that storm, the one who doesn't collapse into drama or lash out in anger, that's the person people instinctively respect. This doesn't mean you should swallow your feelings or pretend you don't care. It's not about bottling up emotion. It's about mastering it. It's about learning to feel the wave of frustration or hurt without letting it drag you under. Because the second you let someone else's chaos control your reaction, you've handed them your power. Think about it. When someone provokes you, they're looking for a spark. If you explode, they own you. If you collapse, they own you. But if you breathe, if you pause, if you steady yourself and respond instead of react, you show a strength that can't be faked. And people notice. They may not say it out loud, but they feel it. They see someone who isn't easily rattled, someone who stays centered under fire. And that calm under pressure creates trust. It makes people want to follow you, to rely on you, to respect you. So when the tension rises, don't let it steal your control. Take a breath. Hold your ground. Choose your response. Because emotional discipline is rare in a world that reacts to everything instantly. And rare things are always valuable. Generosity is one of the most powerful traits a person can have, but it only holds its power when it comes from the right place. When you give because you truly want to, because you choose to, you show leadership. You show abundance. You show that you have enough stability and strength within yourself that you can afford to share it with others. That kind of giving commands respect. But there's a dangerous flip side. If you're helping because you crave approval, if you say yes because you're afraid of disappointing someone, then your generosity loses its strength. Instead of looking like leadership, it looks like desperation. Instead of being seen as dependable, you're seen as someone who can be used. That's the difference between power and weakness in giving. The act may look the same on the outside, but people feel the energy behind it. When you give from need, they sense it. When you give from strength, they sense that too. That's why you need to understand the paradox. The more you respect your own limits, the more others respect you as well. When you say yes, make sure it's a choice, not an obligation you resent. And when you need to say no, do it with the same calm clarity as if you were saying yes. I can't help with that right now. Simple, direct, no guilt, no apology for existing. Because here's the truth. You can be kind without being a doormat. You can be generous without being drained. You can be dependable without being disposable. And when you strike that balance, people notice. They admire your strength because it's rare. They trust you more because your yes actually means something. It's not watered down by endless, resentful agreements. And in the end, they respect you far more than if you had said yes to everything. Real respect doesn't come from exhausting yourself to please everyone. It comes from giving wisely, choosing when to step in and when to step back, and always remembering that your self-respect is the foundation for how others will treat you. So, how do you earn respect instantly? It's not by chasing likes, not by bending yourself into someone else's shape, not by begging for approval that never lasts. Approval is shallow. It rises and fades as quickly as the mood of the crowd. And if you build your life on it, you'll spend your days chasing something you can never hold on to. Respect is different. Respect is not loud. It's not dramatic. It's not something you demand with raised voices or desperate gestures. Respect is steady. It's quiet. It lives in the way you carry yourself, in the way you make decisions, in the way you stand when the room is shaking. You earn it when you own your presence, when you walk into a space with the calm confidence of someone who knows they belong. You earn it when you speak with clarity, when your words are sharp and simple instead of clouded with over-explanations. You earn it when you set boundaries and keep them, when you refuse to trade your peace for the comfort of others. You earn it when you listen with real attention, when you give people the rare gift of being understood. You earn it when you stay composed under pressure, showing strength in the exact moments where most people fall apart. And you earn it when you give generously, offering value without losing yourself in the process. Respect doesn't come from trying harder to impress. It comes from becoming the kind of person others naturally look up to. And the moment you stop performing, stop begging, stop chasing approval, is the moment the world finally begins to take you seriously. If this message spoke to you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel so you never miss the next one.